There it is. There's our reconnect. Hey guys, it's September 26th. 26 days into Pediatric Cancer Awareness Month. And every day this month I have walked 3/4 of a mile in the memory of my son Sam, who passed away on January 23rd, 2020 after a 4-year fight with neuroblastoma. And we're walking 3/4 of a mile because it matches up with the distance between the Cancer Center in New York City, where Sam completed the last 6 months of his treatments, and the Ronald McDonald House, so we would walk that every day. We're gonna have a special guest tonight, and I'm working on getting him in here, so sorry about that. He made the comment and it popped on, but for some reason it's not showing you in the list, Matt. So if you can see me, try another comment. I see 2 viewers. Cammy's here, and you should be the other one, so we should be good. Matt is a lot of things for us. By profession, Matt is a pediatric oncologist. He also happens to be a fraternity brother of mine and a former college roommate. And he's trying his best to get in here, but for some reason it is not working the way that it usually does. Great. Let's see. Try from your phone, bud, just in case. I don't know if it's that or what's going on, but see if you can get in from a mobile device. For us, you guys have heard me say before that, I would never wish this on any family, but there was not a family more adapted to deal with us than we were. Here you go. Now we see him. And part of that was the people that we knew and people who were involved with our fight. And I'll tell you, Matt was a huge part of that. Can we beat Jenna today? I haven't seen her yet. There he is. Look at you. Can you hear me?
Can you hear me? I had to swing over to the phone. I can't hear you. You're quiet. How about now?
There we go.
Do your headphones work with your phone? Because I can hear me through your phone.
That's a negative, but if you want to hold 10 seconds, I can go grab something to do.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
All right. Check it out.
You do that thing, and
I will
telling them about
why it was so important to have you as part of this. I will probably hear next.
I knew
Matt for a long time before I had kids, and especially before Sam had to fight.
And the most amazing thing about having him, like he got basically roped in as an extra oncologist on the team. But he was the guy that also knew how to talk to me, things to me. I could say, hey, here's what the team has said. Now talk to me like my brother, and explain what they're talking about. A really nice thing to have, and it's not lost on me that not all parents but I have that.
And of course, the headphones are a hot tangled mess, so I will do that and untangle it as we chat. Thank you, iPhone, for not having a headphone jack.
Cammy says we're echoing. No surprise.
Cammy, we figured
out from your call. We figured out what happened.
It's people not having headphones. Even if they were told ahead of time to have headphones, have them ready.
At the computer, sitting right here, but the iPhone got me. No worries.
It's good.
This is live TV, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes, right?
Yes, exactly. This is what happens when you do everything live.
I'm trying to think if I can catch the timing. Row. You both gently down the stream. Merrily. Life is but a dream. I think it's perfect.
There you go. We can go ahead and we'll get started while I'm detangling my big mass of iPhone headphones.
Yeah.
Of course, I'm the only one echoing. I blame Zuckerberg.
You don't echo
you
when
don't
you
echo
talk.
when you talk.
So let's do this.
Let's do this.
When you and I were in undergrad,
even then you told me
I'm headed for
pediatric oncology.
And I told you
then
that's something
I could never do. For me,
I could never
put up with
the wins for me would never erase the losses.
You know?
So
how
what is it
that I don't have
that you can do this?
All right, hold on. You got me now?
I got you now.
Excellent. All right.
How do you like, because the one thing that I learned going through this with Sam, y'all care too. I mean, it's not like these kids are just numbers to you guys. How do you do that, man?
No, and just what you just said. I mean, the wins, they never erase the losses. I mean, the losses, they always hurt. We always remember them. I mean, we love our kids. We grieve with the families when it doesn't go the way we want to. But you know, the way I've looked at it is these kids are out there fighting whether we know it or not, right? I mean, and that's what this whole month is about, is what you guys have had to go through. And you know, I think those of us that do this, we do it because we think that we can do a good job and make life a little less sucky for the kids and the families that have to go through this. And so, you know, that's how I get through my day when I'm having a bad day, is give what I can, give my best, and know that is the best thing that family can get, you know. But it doesn't make the sucky part suck any less.
No, I love that, because you know, this whole month I've been talking about, I'm one guy with a selfie stick. We're not curing cancer here, right? We don't have that technology yet. All I want to do is for the kids that are going through this, make it one little bit easier. And the same thing for the families that are going through this. And that's, you know, you've actually never quite said that to me that way. So it really hits home, is that you're the guy who's doing that, right? You're the guy who's making it just one little bit easier for every family. You're never going to win them all. Like, that's just not a thing right now. We're not there yet.
Yeah.
But being there to win the ones that you can and make things a little bit easier for everybody, dude. Even with terrible hair, hats off.
Thank you, brother. No, it's and most of what I do and most of my days are good days, you know. Thankfully, our field does have a lot of success. And yes, what we do is hard, but we get so many amazing victories and small victories, and you know, that's what helps gets us through all this. It's not constantly dealing, thankfully, it's not constantly dealing with children that are dying of their disease. You know, those are the ones that obviously are going to weigh the heaviest on our hearts for sure. But if that's what I did all day, every day, no, I don't think I could do that. And there are certainly people, even within my field, that focus on things that have a much lower success rate than average. And my hat is off to them. And those are even tougher.
Yeah. I think about, you know, I don't think I will ever forget, you and I had a phone call very, very early on in Sam's fight, like right after he was diagnosed. Like, I called you immediately, right? And you've been a part of this from the very beginning. And, you know, you and I had a talk about what was going on and where it was. And you, I mean, whether I heard you correctly or not, what came through was, this is a 50-50 shot from here on out. And so we started doing everything that we could. And, you know, but I recognize now also that, you know, a 50-50 shot compared to where we ended up is damn good. is a chance to fight. And then, like to your point, you said there are some people who specialize in stuff that's got, a lower success rate. Memorial Sloan Kettering up there, where we were for the last 6 months, they focus on these central nervous system relapses. And man, I want to say that's like a 10% maybe.
Maybe.
I don't know their numbers,
if you're
but
lucky.
It's low.
I mean, so to give you some, central nervous system neuroblastoma is, by the textbook, incurable, right? The fact that they have a handful of kids that are long-term survivors is just a testament to the work that they do up there. It's that is some of the hardest of the hard. And I was watching your video last night with, is it Annika, her dad?
Yeah, with Jeff.
Yeah, and I was particularly struck by his his big pile of the beads of courage, and his comment about, man, it's just stupid. And he's absolutely right. I mean, what we have to do to try and get these kids a coin flip chance, like you said, is just stupid.
Yeah.
And even getting to that 50-50 chance that we've got now has not been from big breakthroughs. It's been little bit by bit, throwing this thing at it, trying, adding 5% survival at a time. Oh, we'll add on this new drug. Maybe it adds 10%. Great, that's a huge breakthrough. It's not that we've had these huge revelations. It's been scratching and fighting to get there. And neuroblastoma in particular, and you know this better than anybody, is one of the worst treatments that we do to kids. There's nothing easy about it. It's intense. It's long. It's just brutal. The short-term side effects are terrible. The long-term side effects are terrible, and the success rate's not great. And so it is hard on the families. It's hard on the kids. It's hard on us, because we see what it does to the kids.
Well, and we hit them with everything, right? The neuroblastoma kids.
Yeah.
I mean, they get the radiation, they get the chemo, they get the high dose with the stem cell transplant, they get MIBG treatments. I mean, there's a couple more, and none of them are easy. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't think I've specifically described really what we were doing in New York City, but like, guys, literally because chemo drugs won't cross the blood-brain barrier mostly, they literally put a port in his head to go directly into his brain and spine, right, inside this protective wrapper, and they were injecting basically radiation, like radioactive, help me out, radioactive antibody, right, is what they were doing.
Yep. Yeah, so it's immunotherapy that has radiation attached to it, and we're going to inject that into his brain.
Directly into his brain. And I when we talked with the big team and the surgeon, I can't remember when I said this, but like I asked them, because the doctor down here, the neurosurgeon, was like, he's lost the elasticity of his brain tissue. And he is like, it could have had something to do with the treatments that have been going there. So I literally said, so he basically pickled it, right? And he's like, kind of. But like, pickling the brain is better than dying.
Yeah.
And there's a chance that going through that will help. It didn't work for us, right? We had a series of complications. And if you happen to be a parent who is going through this fight right now and you haven't done some of the things we do, nothing that I have said ever, at no point do I think we shouldn't have done something that we tried. I want to be very clear about that, because I don't think I've said that either. I have tried hard not to come down negatively on any of our doctors, nurses, any medical staff, or the treatments, because I think we were doing all the right things. But, and Matt, you know this better than even I do, better than anybody. You can do all the right things, and sometimes that's not enough in these cases.
Yeah. And that's what really sucks sometimes, is you do everything right. You make all the right decisions. You make all the right calls. You do all the right things. Everything goes well, and you still get a bad outcome. And that's the hard thing to deal with. And I agree with you, and certainly, with you guys, we've walked this together. I've beaten myself up plenty about should we have done this, should we have done that, and at the end of the day, we've had this discussion, but there was nothing that I think we could have changed at any point along the way that was going to change how this was going to turn out.
Yeah.
But you never stop doubting yourself.
Yeah.
I mean, that just, well, what if we'd have done this then, and even with the benefit of hindsight, Sam's tumor was just a beast.
Yeah. No, it's you've said to me before that, neuroblastoma is an insidious cancer. You hit it with stuff and it looks like it's working. And then it comes back. It just comes back, and that's exactly what happened with us. And we talked a couple weeks ago about the guilt that comes with this, that you can't, I don't think I'll ever escape it fully. Logically, I know that it's stupid, but emotionally, it's exactly what you're talking about. You think through, well, man, if only we had tried this thing. And it reminds me of another thing that I've been wanting to mention, because Maud and I were talking about this the other day, and I can't think of a better time. If you're going through this as a family, the numbers on marriages after this, especially if you lose your kid, are not good. But I am extremely, I'm very comfortable with where we are, and I think a big part of that is that we never had a disagreement about treatment, right? There never in our marriage from here on out is there going to be this place where either one of us can say, well, man, I really wanted to try this other thing, and there's this thought that if we had tried this, that might have worked, but we went your way. And thank God for that, because I can't imagine how tough that would be for either one of us to have that. And so, if you are going through this, I don't know, it's not consensus, but if the two of you are trying to figure out what to do and you're at odds, then the two of you need to read a little bit more and get on, try to get on the same page, because I don't ever want you going back and looking back and having that.
Absolutely. And I think a big part of what our job is to build that consensus and to make sure that everybody's on the same page, because you're absolutely right. Losing a child is, statistically at least, the single biggest stressor you can put on a marriage.
Yeah.
And we've unfortunately seen it where marriages just don't survive.
Yeah.
It's hard to dig out of that hole. And being on the same page, both in going through the treatment and sharing the burden of treatment, and moving past bereavement together, and people grieve very differently. I mean, There's all kinds of things that go into that, but either way, it's tough. And I'll take my hat off to you guys. I think y'all are obviously an amazing couple, and I love both of y'all. And,
I know.
It's
He
never.
loves us too.
Yeah, it's never something you want to see your best friends go through. But you guys are incredible.
Well, thank you. I mean, we always knew Maud was incredible, and I just I hold on for
you have risen to her level, at least on one or two occasions.
Maybe once or twice in our lifetime. Let's see. God, how old am I? It's been 20 years, and maybe in those 20 years, I might have gotten there twice, maybe.
Yeah, that's right.
So, I was talking about this while you were working on your headphones. One of the most important roles you played for us was having someone that I could talk to like my brother about what the doctors were saying, and who could take it from, I get that sometimes a physician has to, I don't know if hedge is the right word, right? I'm not trying to come down on you guys, but like, I could come to you and I could say, hey, here's what they're telling me. Can you please explain this to me in like normal speak?
Yeah.
And is that,
Yeah.
is that something that was just for me, or is that something that like, can you talk like that with every family, or is it just because of what you and I have? I mean, we got a little bit of history. We almost died together.
We got a little bit of history. Yeah, I mean, certainly I'm able to be more blunt, and I'm not going to say honest, because it's not that we're ever dishonest,
Yeah.
but you do at some times have to kind of hedge a little bit, right? And sometimes that's intentional, right? Like I view part of my job to not ever take away hope as long as there's still hope to be had, right? But at the same time, being honest with people about the reality of the situation they're facing. And, you know, I guess I'm a little more inclined when I'm talking to somebody that's one of my best friends to maybe say things in a little more plain language and a little more bluntly, you know? Because I'm sure I'm guilty of doctor speak as much as the next guy when I'm talking to my families. I certainly try and be honest as I can with people, but we do have to sometimes choose our words carefully, and for better or worse, I think that's, you don't want to be backed into a corner about something you said 3 months ago. And well, you said here this is how this was going to go, right?
And I think that there's always uncertainty in there, and never did I feel like and I want to be clear about this too, never did I feel like our doctors were trying to like hold anything back from us. It never felt like they weren't trying, that they didn't have our best interest at heart, or that they weren't like that they were hiding anything. It literally is just exactly what you described, right? Is trying to give an honest assessment of the situation, but hedge between, a little bit of retaining hope, a little bit of political correctness, right? Because that's your job, and if there's always that chance that someone's going to take something the wrong way, right? And so I don't envy them that at all, right? I think it's a hard position to be in, for sure.
And it is, and I think we have the benefit of, like you said, 20 years of friendship to fall back on. But no, that's definitely a challenging aspect of our jobs, is communicating both good news, bad news, unknown news, because there's always uncertainty there.
Yeah.
And you don't know how things are going to turn out, and you don't want to give hope falsely if there's no hope to be had, but you also don't want to take hope away, even if like you said, it's a 10% chance,
even if it's
things
slim,
are going to turn out the way.
Because those 10% chances, that's still like a lot of kids.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's a lot of kids. And so one other thing, I don't know that I've ever said this out loud, and God, I hope it doesn't come out the wrong way. But when you're in this fight for 4 years, Sam lost friends going through this. And it's again, sometimes things go through your head, and they're not like, it's not something you want to react like. I don't know exactly how to say this, but like sometimes you're still there, and so that makes your percentage better. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. No, it's survivor's guilt.
It's like a terrible thing to say, but like if 10% of the kids make it through this, or 50, or whatever the percentage is, and Sam was one of the ones that doesn't, that that gives me hope for the others that are still in the fight, right?
Yeah.
Because those, we come back to a meme. Hey,
and that's why you look at, like you said, it's, neuroblastoma of the central nervous system, not curable until there was the first one,
until
right?
somebody did, right?
Yeah, and so you always want to hope and pray that, okay, my kid's going to be the first one that we figure this out on, and that's what we keep fighting for. That's why you're doing these walks. That's why they're doing the trials. That's why we do what we do. Yeah, the routine stuff is much easier to get through, and the success rates are much higher. But it's that rare stuff that you keep fighting for, because you get that one victory, and that's it.
Dude, there's so many more things that I want to talk to you about, and I know you and I could go on for like an hour on this.
Yeah, I'm sure we
would
could.
love it. And so maybe we'll try to do it one more
We can
time
do a part
before
2, man. I'm around.
Yeah, okay. Let's do that. I've made my miles, and I know you watched LSU lose. I haven't seen the end, so I assume they lost.
No, I turned it off with about 5 minutes left when they started
I
to
got
blow
Alabama
it for the.
playing now.
Yeah.
Plus, there's a grill going and people at the house. So I'm gonna let you go. Hey guys, don't forget we're doing this for Alex's Lemonade Stands. We're playing the long game because they do cancer research grants, but we're also playing the short game because they help families that are fighting this every day. And so, we really appreciate all your help. If you missed it yesterday and you're still here at the end of this video today, don't forget, we're asking everybody. I used to have to ask Sam. Sometimes he'd be out of gas, and I say, we got to do one more test. And so I'm asking everybody who's made a donation one more $1. And Jeff yesterday threw out, Annika's dad, he threw out, use your $1 as a vote. Make a vote. When you see that, you got a choice between watching him get his head shaved, which I love, or we have a video of Annika the day that her cotton candy got melted. It's a story that's been told a couple of times, and maybe we'll tell it again. But hop on there, give us one more $1 at Alex's Lemonade Stand. Use the link, and we love you guys. We'll see you everywhere. Matt, thank you so much, man. We love you, brother.
All right, brother.
We'll talk to you soon.